Then as we step into probation, we then start to become as the Master was. The descent of the Spirit enables us to do this, and with this he brings to us our seed of greatness, because we do not have any powers of ourselves. This is the power that lives in us, the power that flows through us. And with proper utilization and understanding, we have that connection with the universe of the stars, and we have power that is beyond our greatest imagination. If a grain of wheat can raise the earth as it grows toward the light, then how much more powerful must we be as a human being, as we too grow toward the light. So now I'm going to introduce you to yourself, a little bit about what constitutes your lesser nature. And we have obviously a new board here, and it's going to take a little seasoning. We have a lower and a higher nature. Our lower nature is comprised of the physical body. We are comprised of a feeling body, if we want to call it, or a layer of feelings, a part of us that is very sensitive, not only to the feeling of others, but to the feeling of pain and suffering. It is our awareness through the feeling body that makes it possible for us to know when we're not bleeding to death. In other words, if we had no feeling body and we were cut or injured seriously, we wouldn't feel it or know it. So our feeling body is given to us for protection. And then we have what is known as the emotional body. Through love and hate, through anger and jealousy, through non-anger and non-jealousy, compassion, understanding, all these are a part of what constitutes our emotional body, and we learn from them. For instance, we learn that love can overcome hatred. We learn that we can overcome jealousy if we can understand the basic rule of life. Do you know that every one of the 7 deadly sins, such as gluttony and anger and jealousy and hatred, emanate from protection, what is called the basic need of self-survival? That is called the primordial law of the universe. When we experience animals, they operate from their instinctive nature. We operate from a self nature, I, me, and we have done whatever is necessary to protect ourselves in whatever way for millions of years. In other words, we're jealous because someone has infringed upon our territory. Maybe we have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, a husband or a wife, and someone comes along and it's like that person is taking this from us. And that is only one step up from the instinctive nature of a herd. In other words, 2 males will fight over the females of the herd for supremacy. And that is a part of the instinctive nature of self-survival. And if we can understand that, we can trace back any one of all of the 7 deadly passions. Our emotions help us to overcome. If we experience hatred, then we can work with the mind to develop love where hatred existed. And by this, the soul then is purified and grows more and more toward its unity with God. And all this is contained in what is within the parameters of what is considered our lesser self. This has had many wild names as time has passed, like Antichrist, meaning going anti to the way of the Spirit which created us. It's called the devil, meaning anything that destroys life. If you take devil and you reverse the words, it comes out lived. So anything that destroys our ability to live is then called devil. We come to think of devil as being a deity or a force. Back in medieval Christianity, of course, it was more of a deity, and as we have approached modern time, we have been more prone to give this wily old creature the name Satan, or a power. And this power that, of course, Satan comes from the word natus, or natal and birth, anything, again, that destroys life. So Antichrist, Satan, devil, whatever we want to call it, or just simply our lower nature, this is the culprit that gets us into all of our trouble. This is the part that hates and has anger and jealousy. And it is because we experience this that we will strive diligently to purify it. Because beyond the parameters of this is our soul. Many people, I believe, feel that the soul is in the body, but the body is actually in the soul. And the soul extends around the body and contains in it layer after layer after layer after layer of past memories. We have within the deep storehouse of the subconscious mind the memory patterns that have existed since the very beginning of time. So you can imagine what it might be like to be a psychiatrist or a psychologist in tomorrow's world. Not in today's world. I greatly fear we are in our infancy. We haven't even developed discernment where we can look back into the deep inroads of the soul in order to know what makes it sick. But what we do know, and what we have called the subconscious, are those experiences that have happened from childhood. However, back in the soul, we have all the experiences from the beginning of time. No, we don't remember them. We don't remember the forming of light, or being light and a part and one with everything. We don't remember our passage into the creation of our solar system and even our own planet. We don't remember those things, but they're there, all those experiences. And one day, when psychiatry and psychology have all passed through this wondrous transformational change and possess that great consciousness of God called cosmic consciousness or God consciousness, then they will also see deep into the inroads of the soul. For instance, it would be pretty hard for us to really be terribly skillful with one of the greatest powers that we have, and that is the power to heal. We've always thought in terms of the laying of the hands and praying and allowing the spirit of someone else, Jesus or whoever, to flow through us to do the healing upon an individual. And yet we have the power of the universe. And if we can develop the constancy of the mind sufficiently that this mind is stilled, and that in its stillness it becomes one with everything. In great healing, where the miracles take place, you should have little or no awareness of existence. You should be nothing more than the pulse of the universe flowing through the person that you are healing. Now, discernment, if we had developed that capability, we would know where that healing was needed, because it is not much value to heal the body if we haven't healed the mind. You see, many illnesses began with the mind, of what we think. For instance, I picked up a little girl, she was about 12 years old, traveling from, I think it was from Olympia or someplace in there. And she was coming to Seattle, if I remember correctly. I picked her up because I knew she was safe with me, and I was afraid someone would pick her up that she wouldn't be safe with. And as we're riding along, I'm saying nothing, she is saying nothing. And finally I said, "Oh, so you are planning on taking your life? That is rather stupid." And she looked at me in such shock that I would know, or that she was planning on taking her life. In that she was only 11 or 12, she probably would not have had the courage, or the kind of courage it takes to take one's life. But often where there is smoke, there is fire. And here was a person so despondent that what would a physical healing have done for her? I had many miles to